Shit 90 shows taught me. Seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows. All you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sara, how are you?
Jess, I'm doing so good. I have my Casper the Slutty Ghost costume on. I'm ready to whore it up all over town.
Wonderful. I can't wait to hear all your thoughts about both of Willow's costumes.
Yes.
But first, I must introduce our very special guest here to talk all things Halloween, Kevin Mahadeo. Kevin, how are you?
Woo! I'm excited. I'm spooky scary. It's gonna be real fun.
Spooky scary.
Yeah.
Kevin, I feel like we've asked you this before since you were on our Casper podcast, but are you a Halloween boy? Do you love Halloween?
I'm a Halloween lunatic. I
Yeah?
love Halloween. One of the saddest things about getting older is like the more difficult participation in Halloween because I have to work all day and
Yeah.
like it's hard to get the costume together.
Yeah, but don't
It
you
sucks.
you live in New York City? Like, how do you not go to find a Halloween party to go to or something? Like, don't they have like a themed thing like the weekend around Halloween somewhere?
I also live in New York City where there is like 2 bazillion people and you go to any known Halloween thing and it's impossible to like have a good time. There was
Yeah.
one year many moons ago, I think the one big Halloween thing I remember doing in New York, Robin and I, who is my now wife, we were not dating at the time, and we went to a Halloween party on a boat here in New York, which was a lot of fun, but we had kept our costumes secret from everyone and from each other too, because we were friends, but we weren't talking. And we showed up, and she was dressed as Big Bird, and I was dressed as Fozzie Bear. We did not plan to be Muppets together. We just happened to be, and it was very, very, very funny.
So you were Fozzie Bear?
Yeah.
So
Waka.
if this because I was wondering like if I was in a costume and this happened, what would I dress up as? And then I did the whole deep dive of going down like costumes.com and finding my Halloween costume. But how do you think Fozzie Bear would fare in all of this?
Surprisingly well.
Yeah.
I think the Muppets are very resilient. I think they'd find a way out of this. They would find Angel. Honestly, I would love to watch this entire episode redone where everyone is Muppets except Angel. That's what I want to see.
A Muppet episode. I don't know. I'm not usually a big fan of puppet episodes for most television shows, so I don't know about that. But
no comment, Jessica. I cannot comment on this.
More puppets. We already covered the puppets, the ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, I hated that.
We can't do more puppets.
Oh, it was horrendous. Yeah, this is fair. But yeah, Sara, what did you land on for a costume? Like, what would you be for Halloween that you would end up becoming?
My favorite one that I saw was Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, that's a good one to be, though. She's a detective. Like, she knows what's
No
up.
one would
She's a
find
spy.
it.
Yeah, where in the
Yeah.
world
So,
is Carmen Sandiego?
yeah. So, I mean, not even I would be able to find myself if I dressed as
Mhm.
Carmen Sandiego. So that was my favorite costume.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's just a red trench coat, and then one of the
Hat.
and the hat. Yeah, one of the reviews I found on the Carmen Sandiego costume was that the iconic red trench coat came in and it was more orange than red. So maybe I won't buy that one. But I mean, you have one job is just to get
Mhm.
the red trench coat right. But
Yeah.
how about you, Jess? What do you want to dress up as this Halloween? That
Unlike
even though
Kevin,
it's May, it's like the opposite of
yeah,
Halloween.
we're far from it. But unlike Kevin, I'm not a Halloween person. Like, since I was like 16, I guess probably I was just kind of like over it. Like, I'm not really into dressing up into costumes, and I don't really like kids. So handing out the candy,
What's
there's no
the
real
equivalent
appeal.
of the Grinch, but for Halloween? The candy corn. You are the candy corn of Halloween.
I'm
What
the
are you
candy
doing right
corn,
now?
yeah. I'm not a huge fan, but so I think if I was like forced to participate in some way,
God,
I would
yeah.
probably do something like of minimal effort where like you just like a dog, like get like a headband with like ears and like draw something on my face. Like it would be minimal effort. So probably a dog is my assumption on what I'd be. If I was choosing something that I know I dressed up as a kid, the last costume I ever wore when I went trick-or-treating, I was a hippie with my friends. So like I'd be totally chill during this
I mean,
I
you would just do a peaceful
that's
protest. You'd be useless, you're saying.
Yeah, I would be
you
no
would
help.
be. You would
Yeah.
go down first. So a secret thing though about this episode of me, as we are talking about this, because you asked about the Fozzie and how he would fare. This is not even a joke. For a number of years, I wore a Superman shirt under my costume
Oh.
on the off chance this did happen IRL.
Kevin!
Kevin.
What would ever make you think that this is something that could happen?
Listen, a hope and a
Also,
dream.
would
is
that
what-
matter if it was underneath your shirt?
Yeah, because then I would be Superman just playing a costume.
I don't-
Oh, I
The
see.
real
So
I'm
you're
not
truth
quite
is
Superman.
sure
me.
because
see.
Willow wasn't like a slut. She was just a
That's true. Well,
yeah,
she
she was-
meant to be a ghost. You know, that was her
She was just-
intent,
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, okay, so it has to have intention. Like your costume
You were like,
is-
I'm Superman
I'm
pretending
Superman
to be.
pretending to
Correct.
be
Fozzie
a
Bear.
Fozzie Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to dream, okay?
Yeah.
You're like, this is what I would like to have happen, even though this is truly a nightmare. Like this scenario is
Not
a
if
nightmare.
you're Superman, it'd be great.
You could fly.
I
Yeah.
have a quick question, Jessica.
Mhm.
Is this episode not just a direct rip of Halloween Town?
No, it's not. I mean,
It-
first of
they
all,
did
this
do
probably
this in
came
Halloween
first,
Town.
didn't it?
I don't know.
see.
I don't remember which
Halloween
Halloween Town.
Town-
Do you know the
Halloween Town was 1998.
You know the Halloween Town where they dressed up and then they like were, oh no, like I'm now a goblin because
Yes, no, that's fair. However, like the timing, I think this came out first. I think like not by much, but I think this came out first.
So
Also,
like,
that's a later Halloween Town movie.
Yeah, that's like
The
Halloween
first
Town 2, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, is not.
So this is first. So that ripped off this then.
Okay,
I guess. That's what
okay.
we're saying. Yeah.
I was gonna say like this is a concept that I've seen before.
Also, if we're gonna say which did it better, you know, like who wore it best,
Mhm.
this is obviously
Well,
much
It's this
better
one.
than Halloween Town
My
2.
biggest enemy in life is Kimberly J. Brown. So
Yeah.
it fits my narrative that Kimberly J. Brown copied Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm pretty sure they're married now, her and that other guy from Halloween Town. I think they got
Girl, I
actually married
told you
now.
this. Stop it. Like I was the one that broke the
Oh.
news to you.
Then maybe they had a baby or something. I don't know. There
No.
was something new with them. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
it's a new news. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, so we're covering season 2, episode 6 of Buffy Halloween. This episode's incredible. Obviously, we start off in it's fall, it's Halloween time, it's almost Halloween day, and we're like, you know, Buffy's fighting, as is the case normally. However, Kevin, there's a little peeping Tom just creeping around recording her fight. Just this, and this is like, I mean, let's be real. This is actually a really good idea to like see what she could do. It's kind of like in sports where like this is why they implemented like rules against like being able to read the lips and all that. Yeah, because you're like, oh, what can they do so we could fight against it?
Yeah, to be fair, the bad guys are doing it, so it is like in line, even if this was like foul play, right? The bad guys are here videotaping her. Spike has a minion out there using a classic VHS tape recorder, which did crack me up because the batteries were low, and I was like, oh man, what a time.
Plug that shit in, man.
Yeah, you gotta hook that up. That's gonna die on you. It's not ideal.
Yeah. And it's great because I think the thing they learn about Buffy, Sarah, is like she's adaptable. You know what I mean? She adapts to a situation that she's in. She's really good at like what is it called?
She's resourceful. She finds a sign and uses it as a stake.
Improvised weapons.
Yes. I thought that Spike is probably the smartest person that I've seen on the show thus far, for him to feel like, hello, I am going to study Buffy and kill her that way, because obviously he sees that nothing has worked thus far. So like, let's not, go to the same well twice. Like, let's try to switch it up and try new strategies. So the fact that we're video recording her with the world's oldest video recorder, it was great. Like, I thought
I love that
really
there's
smart.
I love that there's like a sacrificial lamb in one of the vampires, because it's like, well, obviously he's gonna die, so he's fine.
Send Jeff out there. I have a question for both of you. As we all know, if you've heard me on podcasts before, I famously do not listen to the podcast before I come on because I'm terrible. A terrible human. So I have to ask, because last time I was here, this hadn't happened yet. You knew that there was someone named Spike. Where are we on the Spike train 6 episodes in? I mean, I assume you love him because he murdered that child.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was my favorite thing.
Yeah, that was huge. So I think at this time we've only seen Spike 2 times or 3 times. It just hasn't
This
been
is his
a lot.
third appearance, I think, maybe.
I mean, he's rock and roll. Like, he's so cool. And I'm very intrigued by him, and I feel like, I mean, I made my family tree. I don't know where my family tree went, but I made a family tree, and I like how everyone's being connected. I feel like we got a couple of extra clues on who might be connected today, and I'm like very intrigued by him. I like Spike. Jessica's stance is she officially hates Angel. So I think that automatically you like Spike better.
Wow.
I don't. Okay, this is a very dramatic way to put my feelings on Angel.
I'm not being dramatic.
Okay. Angel is getting old. Now, I will say he redeemed himself a bit in this episode. And my biggest problem with him, Kevin, is that he's so cryptic and he only speaks like in one line sentence. It's like one line at a time. And he just drops. He never gives any hints on anything. He is very bland in terms of actual personality. So there's not a ton to like. Whereas Spike comes in, he's rock and roll. He's intense. He's a bad boy. He's just like the ultimate mean guy villain, which our love for Daddy Vamps. And so when we met Spike, it was like, this is Daddy Vamps times 10. And he has a girlfriend who's like very creepy and loves dolls and is like very weird. And he has like a very strange relationship with her. So that was all great. I'm totally in on Spike. Honestly, my biggest problem is the fact that we're not spending more time with him. Like, because of the way season 2 has been structured, it's very like, occasionally they're like, this is a monster of the week. And then occasionally they're like, no, this is a Spike episode, or this is like the bigger picture episode. And this one, luckily, was one of the bigger picture episodes. So I really liked this episode. My biggest problem is that we're not spending more time with those two, because I want to know everything there is to know about them, because they're so creepy. And obviously they're connected to Angel in some way. Like, it's all very mysterious and I want to know more. Whereas Angel is a little mysterious and I'm kind of like, I don't really care about you anymore. You're kind of just being annoying. So you can go.
Hey, this is all fair. It's really funny because there's a lot of I think interesting thoughts and answers that will be coming for some of the things you're saying. I love Spike. I love Spike so much, it's insane. And I'm a huge fan of him and Drusilla. I loved these two so much, and I just loved when they came in and murdered the Anointing One. Apparently this was some behind the scenes stuff too, where they introduced the idea of like, it's a kid and he's immortal. He's a child, he ages. And like they just weren't as into him, and they were so into Spike as a character that they were just like, nope, this is them.
Just toast him, put him in a cage and toast him. Sounds great. Yeah, loved that. Right. I was so happy to be rid of him so quickly. It was like the best thing they could have done for the show. But yeah, Angel is waiting at the Bronze for Buffy. She's running late because of course she is. She has Slayer duties. And in comes Cordelia. And Cordelia really wants to make like Kangel, Angelia. See, their name doesn't even work in terms of a ship name. Like you can't make it work. But she's desperate, right? She finds him like so attractive. And like Buffy comes in, and this is such classic high school nonsense. She comes in, she's late, she sees Angel laughing with Cordelia because, you know what, Sarah? Cordelia's funny. People are going to laugh because she says funny things. I'm converted. I'm a Cordelia convert. I love her now. I think she's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why Buffy automatically assumed that something was going on between them because, I mean, like, she knows. I don't think she thinks that Angel's hanging outside of Cordelia's window for real. Like, Cordelia doesn't even believe that he's a vampire, but
he's barely showing interest in her. He certainly doesn't have time to show interest in another girl.
True. So, like, I feel as though it was, like, a bit of an overreaction, but I think that she was feeling a little bit grody. And I can understand this. Whenever I feel a little gross, I don't want to be hanging out at the club with my crush around. She needed to take a little shower. She had some hay in her hair. So she was just over it. Like, and she was over the fact that, like, Cordelia could be at the Bronze all night flirting with Angel. And she had to work her full-time job, even though she's a full-time student. She was just not in the mood.
I guess, okay, though. Kevin, this is where I got a little irritated with Buffy, and I usually am very pro Buffy. I'm usually fully on Buffy's side with almost everything, but this is something that is so irritating to me, where it's like, you arranged this date. Yes, you're a little late, but he doesn't seem to care at all. In fact, he's very much into you, and he's giving you all of the signals that he is still interested in you, and she's just like, but I'm not good enough. Like, and this is like the third time she said it. On the first time, I will forgive it as like a little bit of insecurity. You're having a bad day. But by the third time around, I'm like, Buffy, either get over it and date Angel, or like don't date him. But like, enough of the back and forth. It's a bit much.
I think it's very teenage-y, right? And like we're obviously all, let's just say, further removed from that. But I feel like it's complicated because she looks like Sarah Michelle Gellar. That's where it gets very like.
I'm so ugly. It's like,
I know, right? Like,
she's too hot.
It's too hard to like fully relate to that. But I will say, like, I can relate to the idea of her being self-conscious and upset because it's Cordelia of all people, right? It's one thing if Angel is just like laughing with another girl. Laughing with Cordelia is like, oh, you're hanging out and laughing with the person who torments me and my friends. Cool. Like, I think there's a level there that could make you upset and self-conscious. So I can give her a little bit of that. But I don't know. To your point also, though, Angel's like, he's putting out the message, but he's also not like, let's just say, putting out.
Yeah, he is standing like 6 inches from her face, which I feel like should be enough. But yeah, it's very obvious that she's insecure about the fact that he's a vampire and he has all this experience that she doesn't have. And on top of that, I know, Sarah, like, I feel like every single episode it's being reiterated that Buffy's busy. She doesn't even have time to do school and slaying. How is she supposed to also have time to date?
Yeah, I'm hearing the message. I'm getting the point. I am so empathetic with her. I feel so bad. Did you remember we have to listen out for the songs at the Bronze?
The lyrics.
And the lyrics was like, I don't talk much, but I'm still a dude, or something like that. And I was like,
is that the Angel theme? That
yeah,
like
I think so. He was like, I don't say much.
Yeah, my heart still pours out from my lips.
Yeah.
that's
So
stupid.
so the show knows that he doesn't talk much. Jess, give him a break.
No,
You know?
I will not, because he needs to communicate. You know what I mean? Write her a letter. If you don't want to use if you don't want to like speak, write her a letter. Do something, like communicate in some way. And I guess he did a better job of it this episode, I will say. Like, I'm going to give him some credit this episode. It was just, he's running a fine line. He's on thin ice with me. Xander broke through the ice a century ago, but Angel's, he's on thin ice.
Oh, goodness.
Hilariously, this is one of Xander's better episodes.
It is. It's a better one for him. I mean, he does use a gun, which I'm not a huge fan of, but like, still, it's a better episode for him.
I mean, what do you want to do? A soldier use like a freaking rose and throw?
I would just say, don't dress as a soldier for Halloween.
Well,
there you go.
Different time, I guess.
Yeah. Principal Snyder, who I'm still very sus about, and we don't know any more about him this episode, but I'm like, you know things, sir. He's taking volunteers, and by volunteers, I mean he is telling people that they have to take these children out on Halloween and take them trick-or-treating. And like, okay, first of all, you can't just tell people they have to do this, right? It's a volunteer program. Second of all, you're like, oh, you, the biggest juvenile delinquent in this school who like set fire to a school I don't trust at all. Let me give you like 5 kids to watch for an afternoon. What's wrong with you, Principal Snyder? Do you want children to die? Like, Kevin, what is this guy's problem?
I think if it's a long game, he maybe does, so Buffy goes to jail. Like, the easiest way to get rid of Buffy forever, right? I'm gonna put you in charge of children. If they die, it's on you. You're gonna go to jail. So, like, maybe that's his long con game here. Because I feel like picking on Buffy as a principal is already, like, just, you know, a conflict of interest. But it could be okay, except, like, to your point, just, yeah, these are children that you are now thrusting on a human person to have to take care of. Honestly, this is irresponsible on everyone's level. The parents who said that this is a good idea, the school for taking on this sort of responsibility, it's bad. They shouldn't have done this.
Yeah. I feel like this would be so much fun. I think that this resolves the issue that you can no longer go trick-or-treating as a high schooler. And kids on Halloween are so cute. I don't know. I would sign up for this.
I would never sign up for this, especially because if it was like each one person is assigned one child, okay. Like, outnumbered by multiple? Absolutely not. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. And on top of all of that, first of all, I think they have like no notice. Like, it's like tonight. Second of all, they have to wear a costume while they do this too. Why? Why am I being made to wear a costume?
Yeah, that seems like a strange mandatory request.
Yeah, this is stupid. It's upsetting.
Keep the spirit of Halloween alive for the kids who are participating, right?
Exactly. Jessica, would you not wear a Santa hat on Christmas? I was like Santa-ween. I don't know.
Yeah, Santa-ween. You know. Petition to call Christmas Santa-ween.
Yeah, the Jewish kid talks about Christmas again.
A Santa hat is not the same thing as like an entire Halloween costume.
Okay.
But either way, Buffy says, like, because they're talking about like, oh, isn't it like, aren't you going to have to go out and fight vampires tonight? And apparently, according to Giles, this is like their night off. They're like, no, all the kids are out. I'm going to take the night off. I feel like this would be the exact opposite, Kevin. Like, there's so many children to eat out and about. Like, why aren't, and you are in natural camouflage, right? You can have vamp face and people are like, wow, you're a scary monster. Look at your costume.
I think that's exactly it, though. It's just like, it's annoying. There's so many people. It's probably hard to actually do anything because there's so many people around. And it's almost like people are like dressing up as you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
so take your revenge.
I don't know. I would rather, the same way, just be like, you know what? I'm gonna stay home tonight. You guys have fun, right? Like, I think for me, that's like one of those things where it's like after centuries of it, it's just like, I'm over this. I can't do this anymore.
I'm gonna make 2 references. Number one, during Halloween Town, in Halloween Town, that's when they can go outside and do their own, they see their families. And then number 2, in American Horror Story, the first one, that was the night where people could leave and like just go and do their own thing and go to the beach. So I feel as though Halloween is a special night where spooky things happen, and maybe you just want to not do your murdering that day. There's other stuff to do.
I guess so. I mean, this other guy has other plans. We'll talk about him later, but Xander is this is so stupid. He goes to the vending machine. He's trying to get a drink. He like can't get the vending machine to give him the drink. Whatever. We meet this bully named Larry. And he insults Buffy. Because he's basically saying she's fast. Oh, I heard Buffy's a slut, which I'm like, why would this ever be a rumor going around? Like, Buffy hasn't dated like literally anybody here, but okay. And it upsets Xander.
I don't think you understand high school.
Yeah, fair, but I'm just saying, like, why would that be the rumor about her when, like, she would have to date, like, a single person for this rumor to happen?
She probably rejected somebody and didn't want to go on the date, and that probably was like, that freaking Buffy's such a slut. Like, haven't you heard? Blah blah blah. Like, I feel also, like it's because
she's not giving attention.
Yeah,
people will just like make up shit. Like, there's like a lot of ways it could happen. Yeah, it does. It does. There's no. I'm not trying to defend any of this. This guy deserved to have gotten beaten up.
Yeah.
Know?
Well, yeah. So Xander's like, oh, I'm gonna again, just typical Xander. Like, let me assert my masculinity and like punch this guy. And Buffy comes in, and without really realizing what's going on, she like grabs the guy, puts his arm behind his back, because she's Buffy and she's awesome. And she's like, get the hell out of here. You're a douchebag. And Xander, okay, because we're going to get to good Xander stuff. But before that, we're going to get into misogynistic Xander who can't handle that a girl beat up a boy for him. Stop it. You were going to get your ass kicked.
But
I can't believe I'm about to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to defend Xander.
Please do.
Here's the thing. Is it misogynistic in the attitude of just like, I should be standing up for you? Yes. However, there's a lot of there's a lot of complication. I do think it is a level of toxic masculinity to want to have to then beat up a person who insulted your friend, right? Like, the ideal circumstance is not to resort to violence, although I have a lot of strong opinions about bullies, and sometimes I need to just knock a bully out. But that's besides the point. I think the real truth of the matter that Xander does deserve defending to an extent is that it does exist, and the fact that Buffy saved him isn't even so much as like his own ego is bruised. It's that everyone else is now going to notice that and pick on him relentlessly. It's one thing if you stand up to a bully and get your ass kicked. It's just like, well, he stood up to a bully. It's bad in the sense of the public perception that you stood up to a bully and then someone had to save you, and then because it's high school and because toxic masculinity, it was a girl, right? Like, the bad thing is, like, the after effect of that will be very negative in the unfortunate social spaces that we live in. Now, obviously, my defense is of the situation. The situation is trash, is what I'm saying. Not that that's how we should all feel and continue to perpetuate those things. But he's not wrong that people are going to really rag on him.
Fair enough. Like, I'm sure he would get made fun of. But my problem is reverse the roles. If, like, Buffy is having a problem and Xander comes up and is just like, coming in to defend her, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like the reason is because she's a girl, not because if it was a guy friend that came in to help him, he wouldn't have gotten as upset. And so it just 100%. Irks me because he knows Buffy is strong. Like, if you're that intimidated and that like insecure about Buffy being a strong person, don't be friends with Buffy. Like, that's the reality. Like, you have to, she's trying to help you because this guy is huge and you're being an idiot because you feel like, oh, let me just put my man pants on and defend Buffy, because he always feels like he has to do that. And it's not just because, oh, Buffy's my best friend. No, it's because it's Buffy and he like still can't get over his stupid crush on her. And it's like, when are we going to be done with the Xander has a crush on Buffy? Are we ever going to be done with it? Can we just give Xander like some random like band geek girlfriend just to get him off of Buffy's back, please? It's all I want in this world.
Comment.
Yeah. Hopefully eventually he'll get a girlfriend. Willow's going to get a boyfriend soon, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh no, what do you know about what? But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. They've been teasing it 2 episodes now. We've gotten teases with this Seth Green character. So Xander's all ticked off, whatever, of course he is. And Buffy and Willow are sitting down and they're having their little girl chats as they do about Angel. And Buffy's just like, oh, I was like late and I showed up looking trashed and he seemed okay with it, but I don't know. And so they're like trying to figure out, okay, we have to figure out what Angel's type is. And like, I guess this is relatable, Sarah, because it's like, yes, this is a conversation you would have in high school of like, oh, I need to like become whatever he wants instead of just being myself. But it's like, he obviously likes you, Buffy. Like, why are you trying to change who you are?
Okay. If there was a written diary about the history of the person that I am interested in, and it was being held hostage by my fake British dad, then I would be all up in that diary. I want to read all about it. Like, I don't even think that Giles should be holding hostage these like secret journals, because in my opinion, I think that Buffy should have access to any information that she wants if she's the Slayer. So I feel as though I would be all over those secret diaries about Angel. I would be very interested.
I mean, obviously, right? Angel speaks in like one word sentences. The more you could find out about him in some secret diary, the better.
Yeah, Kevin, why does Giles have literature about the people that she's supposed to be fighting against that only he has access to?
I think that there's a lot of information in those things too that probably will be more revealed later about Angel as a whole. I think, I mean, we teased a little bit of it, right? Like that we talked about it in season 1 in the Angel episode, that there is history of when Angel was a vampire and the history is bad. So I think there's probably a level of like, maybe she doesn't need to know a lot of this right now, because it also could color her opinion on a pretty big ally that she has.
I guess so. I just feel as though she should have access to any information that that could help her in any
also,
sort
they're
of way.
Teenagers. I am reluctant to lend a teenager any book, especially a fragile book that is the one historical copy.
I mean, that's true. My dog literally ate my library book, and I instead of telling the library, I just didn't return it. So
Jesus. The biggest like faux pas, in my opinion, in her not having access to this is us knowing that that Angel and Spike have a history. And so like Spike is her enemy. And so anything that she can figure out about Spike, whether it's through Angel or not, I feel like it's fair game. But maybe obviously we find out the diary is more about his like origin story sort of thing. But I do love Buffy's tactic here. They don't even wait for Giles to leave. They're like, I will distract him. So Buffy is the distraction. She's talking to Giles, trying to get him to pay attention to her, while Willow sneaks in and gets the diary. And the way, this entire sequence of events where Buffy says, the way she distracts him is by saying, Miss Calendar said you're a babe, a hunk of burning something or other. And the disapproving look from Willow had me laughing out loud this episode, where she looks back and she's like, come on, Buffy. Like, it's so perfect, and it works. And I love this. I will ship them forever. Miss Calendar and Giles forever. It's the best.
I was going to ask, have you met Miss Calendar yet? Like, I don't know if this was, okay, cool, great.
We got this from a mile away. As soon as we saw a female teacher, like, become even like a semi-prominent side character, we're like, that's it, put them together, they're making babies, they're fucking in the stacks, that's it.
Jessica, people read there.
And they also do other things there.
It's true, a library is right for that.
Exactly. Like, can you please, like, Sarah, what would get Giles hornier than like a whole aisle of books and like a beautiful woman? Like, come on.
Yeah.
That's all he wants in this world.
I mean, I think so. I think that he already has his cage, so, and unspeakable things happen in there. Also, the secret library book is not even in the secret cage. I don't get it. Okay.
No, it's not in the book prison. It's in his office or something.
So yeah, Willow goes in, and I like how Buffy kind of like backs out of this conversation as quickly as she gets into it. She's like, you know what? I just like never mind. I'm disgusting. I can't believe I brought it up. So out of place. Goodbye.
Yeah. And Giles is like, he's so flattered. He's like, a babe. I can live with that. And I'm like, yes, Giles. I love Giles feeling himself. It's everything.
Listen, Giles is pretty uptight, so he does probably need to get some. Like, let's just be honest.
We said that. Yes, we said we're like, Miss Calendar will loosen him up. Listen, she is a techno pagan. She knows what she's doing.
It's great, and I'm gonna have to also like request now because obviously, like I said, I apologize, but I don't usually listen to podcasts, so I'm gonna need you to like both of you to start messaging me when things happen in the series, so I can get these updates because I'm excited for stuff to start happening.
Yes, I'm excited for the next scene because I feel as though this is going to provide more information for my family tree, because we are looking at the secret diary and we see this drawing of a figure who I am 99.9% sure is Drew. So here we go. We got Drew in the family tree. She's next to Spike. We know that Angel is the maker of Spike. We know Spike is like all up with Drew. Drew, back when Angel was a human, they were definitely involved. They were involved. I think it's an unrequited love. I think Drew likes Angel, but as we know from later on in the episode, Angel didn't like Drew because he didn't like fancy girls.
Yes, and she's very obsessed with dolls too, which is like, I don't know, most people don't like that.
Yes, so this is what I'm thinking happened. But we know that Darla made Angel. So
Darla made Angel. Wait, Drew made Spike, right? And Darla made
Drew
Angel.
Drew made Spike and Darla. No, Angel made Spike. Kevin, who made Spike?
Angel made Spike.
I am gonna have to let you know here. This is going to be a strange retcon they're gonna do. Now, Spike does say you were my sire.
Yeah, he said that when they met,
they met, but it is going to be a semi-retcon to be revealed that, I don't know which of you just said it, but the correct order that is going to be that Drusilla made Spike.
Okay, so Drusilla makes Spike, Darla makes Angel. We know those
and
things
that's as
are
far
true.
I feel like I can say right now.
No, I think that's all we know.
I know the whole tree.
Drew makes Spike, Darla makes Angel. So then does Drew make okay, so no, that's Darla. Okay. Well,
but this is not this woman in the photo is not Darla. Like it doesn't
maybe
feel
Drew
like
gets rejected. You don't no. That's Drew. That's what I'm saying. Drew.
Yeah.
Drew gets rejected by Angel and then is like, okay, I guess I need to have like a new sugar baby. So I'm going to make Spike instead. Like that is her replacement guy because
and that's why he's
Angel.
So insecure because Spike knows I should say, that Drew always had it out for Angel, always had a thing for Angel, and so that's why there's such like there's bad blood between them. There's bad blood between them because he's insecure about the fact that Drew really just prefers brunettes.
No, yeah,
I
true.
mean,
yes.
I don't know if you know this. I'm pretty sure he dyes his hair.
How dare you?
Is it possible?
That was caused by the sun, Kevin.
Is it possible these three used to be like a trio of friends? Because unless it's just like all retconned and like Angel and Spike were just like bros once they were like young vampires just like fucking around.
Well, that's the other thing that we still don't really know exactly how Darla fits in this equation, right? Because we know that she made Angel, and we know that Darla, we think at least that Darla and Angel were like fucking and killing all over the place in
they
their
have a heart
heyday.
next to their arrow in my family tree.
Yes, because they were fucking each other and fucking other people, and like I'm thinking giant vampire orgy, right? So they were like killing corpses, then having sex on them. Like I'm thinking like the nastiest, dirtiest stuff you could do. And I'm wondering like how Drusilla fits into this puzzle, right? Because they're talking about her, and it's like Willow says, "Oh, she looks like she's like a noble woman, like being beautiful is her job," which does sound a lot like Drew.
Yeah. Oh, her real name, it says it's Sara Goodfriend.
Oh, it says that on the paper?
Yeah.
Sarah Goodfriend?
Yeah.
That
Sarah
doesn't
with
sound
an
like
H.
a noble woman's name.
This is from the book? What do you look? Wait.
Yeah, I'm looking at the book.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
11/28. It says Waking Moon, September for the harvest month. It's a bunch of gibberish. Giles, can you at least like in the diary, can you at least give good gossip about her for goodness
honestly,
sake?
Even if that woman's name is Sarah Goodfriend, like Drusilla could have reinvented herself and changed her name.
Yeah.
You know,
She
like
has a
she's probably
rose.
like, I'm cool now. I'm not going to be Sarah Goodfriend anymore. I'm going to be Drusilla. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's 1,000% true.
It looks like her, especially when you think about the fact that this woman is like a noble woman. She's dressing all fancy. This Drusilla loves those like fancy Victorian style dolls.
Yeah.
So like it kind of all makes sense.
Yeah.
So more on that later, because hopefully we'll figure something out with that. But Buffy's feeling insecure because she's like, I'm not that though. Like, look at how tiny her waist is. Like, look at how fancy she is. I'm not that way.
Roll my eyes, but sure. Yes, Sarah Michelle Gellar. You don't have the perfect body and you're not absolutely gorgeous. Same thing with Willow. Yes, Allison Hannigan. You do not have a perfectly flat stomach and beautiful long red hair. Yes, horribly ugly. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
But in comes Cordelia to be like, Buffy, you left Angel all by himself and I had to comfort him. And so they reveal to Cordelia, and I was like a little shocked and taken aback here that they so just were like, I mean, maybe because she already knows about vampires that they were just felt like, okay, like, you know what though, Cordelia? He's actually a vampire. So he's a good one, but he still is a vampire. And she looks like kind of surprised, but then also just a little bit like, I don't even believe you.
She's very dismissive of it, which is very funny.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, I feel like they could tell Cordelia stuff because it's not like it's going to sink in. She's not going to believe them anyway. So it's just like, you know.
It's also, it's worth pointing out, like, Angel is an anomaly, right? Like Cordelia, as far as she knows, and as far as almost everyone knows who's aware, vampires are inherently evil. There's not been a good vampire. So them being like, oh, he's a vampire, she's like, okay. You know, like it makes like a little bit of sense because it's just like, sure. He's a good vampire. He's one of the good ones that exist. Sure. Which is fair enough. But yeah, just I do love Charisma Carpenter's portrayal of Cordelia. It's so good. It's such a classic
genius.
Girl.
Yeah. She's everything because like when it comes to confidence, Cordy has it in spades, baby. She says when it comes to dating, I'm the Slayer. And I was like, yes, girl.
Jess, did I tell you that Charisma Carpenter is in my favorite show ever, Greek?
No, you didn't. I didn't. Have I seen episodes that she's in?
I feel like the most surprising part of this is the first part or the second part of that sentence.
Oh, I've already known that was like her favorite show.
Yeah. I'm very, very high in Greek, and actually, Adam's watching it right now, and he turned it on. He turned it on today on the Peloton by himself. I was so excited.
You trained him so well.
I was so happy. Yeah, like she plays Tegan, and I was very like excited to see her. I'm like, oh my goodness, like she's on Greek. There she is. We are at the Halloween shop searching for Halloween costumes because, as we said before, they're required to wear Halloween costumes. Willow picks up the stupidest Halloween costume. I can't. I don't know why she does this to me every single time. Especially when I see how good she looks later. Especially that. And the fact that she picks up this stupid fucking ghost costume. She gives me a migraine, really.
It's made worse because like it's girl, just buy a sheet. Like, why do you need to buy a ghost costume?
Money for this?
Yeah, that's the part I had a problem with. I don't care. She wants to be a ghost, be a fucking ghost, but don't pay money for a sheet that you could literally buy for like a penny from the flea market.
This is ridiculous. Why would she do this? Why?
Because she's insecure, Sarah. That's why. Because she doesn't see herself as like this pretty cute girl that can like pull off a like sexy anything costume. She feels like very insecure, and so she's just gonna like cover herself up with a sheet.
Yeah. Like if we have Cordelia, like there's another family tree, right? Like if you have Cordelia up here and Buffy is here in her mind for Cordelia, Willow is like feeling herself all the way at the bottom, because Willow is definitely feeling insecure around Buffy, much less Cordelia. Like there's a sad level here for Willow.
That's so sad, because I too have been the duff around my very hot friends, and I am so sad about that. But
I do love that movie though, by the way.
Do you?
I do love the duff. Robbie Amell, I think, is incredible in everything he does. Big huge fan of Robbie Amell.
So Xander picks up the gun and he's like, "I'm gonna be a soldier."
Let me pick the manliest thing I could possibly be.
Yeah. Because he's overcompensating because Buffy had to beat up the bully for him. So like that's his little journey this episode. And then Buffy's looking around and she sees this like very extravagant
like Victorian style dress.
Yeah, Victorian dress. I suppose it's supposed to be like 1775, like the picture was in the
I guess revolutionary dress.
Yeah. So, and she's like, "This is gorgeous. I love this. This is definitely the type of girl that Angel likes." In her head,
definitely
anyway,
not me.
Definitely not me. Yeah. And then this creepy shop owner is like, "You would look great in this. It's made for you."
So creepy. Like I thought he was just being pervy because he's just like, "Oh, it would fit you perfectly, so I'll give you a discount on it." It's like, are you going to require her to like take photos in them and send it to you or something, you weirdo? Like
no,
it was
he's like
so off-putting.
Yeah, she's like, "I can't afford this," and he's like, "It's for free. He'll do me that pleasure."
I'm surprised, Kevin, that he didn't do the like, he did all of this.
I mean, practically, right? Like, Ethan is extremely, like, twirling mustache type villain, which I have an adoration of. I love villains who can eat that scenery, and Ethan does. I mean, you saw the ending of this episode, so it's easy to say, not the last time he will be in this show, but he loves to chew that scenery, baby.
Yeah, he's incredible. Let's cut to another villain. We have this cracked me up. The fact that Spike and his minions are watching the videotape of Buffy on these like TVs that are mounted up high, like they're at a hospital or something.
Are they at like, I thought they were at like a sports bar or
they're
something.
They're at their warehouse, aren't they? I think they're at their little warehouse.
They just went to like TV Depot and they're like, "We'll take a lot.
We need 7 TVs all mounted up high, please. Thank you."
That's how you do it back then. We just don't remember. We were such babes at the time.
I want to crane my neck so I can see exactly what Buffy's up to.
Yeah, it is very up high. So they're studying, and Drew comes out, and Drew was being so creepy. She's always creepy, but she's
creepy,
so creepy.
So
what do you think about Spike calling Drusilla Poodle? Come here, Poodle.
I like it. It's like Pookie.
Listen. Yeah, they can call each other whatever they want. Whatever they want to call each other, I am for, because I love them so much. They are just the best.
Yeah. Kevin, do you love my insides as much as my out? What would you do if Robin came up to you right now and was like, "Do you love my insides?" You're like, "Ma'am."
He would say, "Eyeballs to entrails, my sweet."
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what it would be. I do love this reality where Robin is Drusilla and I'm Spike. Like, yes, give me that world, please.
Yeah. And then, so what's she on about? Like,
so Spike is saying, "Don't worry, I'm studying Buffy so that I can kill her, and you will basically own Hellmouth, Sunnydale, whatever the hell.
No,
and
but
you,
like,
and
okay, she was just being weird. That
that
was the
she's
moral
also
of the
weak.
story.
We know she's somehow weak, and that somehow killing Buffy will like help her get stronger. But
Mhm.
I don't really understand, and Kevin probably can't even tell us. She says everything is switching outside to inside. It makes her weak. So, that must be the Halloween thing.
Correct. The
Yeah,
outside is going
okay.
to become who you actually are because she
Got
has
it.
like weird,
A
crazy
vision.
vision-y things. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bitch is batshit crazy.
Oh yeah,
And she
and
misses
I love her for
leeches.
it.
She misses leeches.
She says, yeah, do you know what I miss? Leeches. And he says, oh my God. And this, okay, I am not for pet names. We all know this. It is like canon. It is something I'm very passionate about. I don't care if other people do nickname or pet names. I will never be a pet name girly, not me.
Okay, just like get to the point. What do
I
you wanna say?
love Spike saying, come on, talk to daddy.
That's what you
Oh
like?
God, we're here on this now. God, I have to have this conversation with Melissa and Adam all the time. Now I'm gonna have
so
it here.
funny. It's not. I don't like it in that like I find it
cannot.
hot. I like it in that it's hilarious.
I don't understand the people who do. Like, it's crazy to me. Listen, I Poodle is fine. I also am
Poodle's
not
good.
huge on pet names. I'm not the honey bunny, baby, whatever, like dearie. Not me, not my thing. I can find certain things like sexy. That one? No, it's
Daddy.
insane. I will never understand it. And there's people I know, like I said, have had this conversation who insist, and they're out of their goddamn mind.
I mean, we called him Daddy. What is it, Master? I don't even know his real name because we called him Daddy Vance.
No,
the entire
it's because
first
they
season.
never he never
It's
got
just
a
the
real name.
master.
Yeah, he's just the
Listen,
master.
hey, guess what? Both of those can be problematic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
That's true.
See, it's better that we called him Daddy Vance.
Yeah. So, but also I feel I don't know. He's such a cool guy though. It's like except for the
Spike?
daddy thing. I think
Spike,
that Spike is not
Yeah.
daddy.
But we know Drusilla has had like this like prophecy, this vision, and she says someone is coming to change it all tomorrow because usually nothing happens on Halloween, but no post on Sundays. But this time there's going to be post on Sundays. Something's happening on Halloween. And we see Ethan doing like some real culty bullshit. I don't even know. He like cuts his palms open, which is very triggering for me because anytime someone cuts open their palms, I'm like, that is the worst possible spot you can cut. You need to use your fucking hands, you moron. He puts blood on his eyelids. What is this man doing? He's like performing rituals and shit. He's praying to like some weird statue. He calls himself a degenerate son. This guy seems like a guy who wants to be called daddy, to be honest.
He does. Yes. No, you're 100% correct. That is, I think, a fair assessment.
Yeah. Yeah. He loves chaos, Sarah. Maybe he's an Aries.
I think he is an Aries. So he does this ritual and we'll see what it becomes, but it's very interesting. It's very interesting what he's up to. I forget what the it was like a dual
It had two
god
faces or whatever.
Yeah.
Statue thing.
Janus, the god of beginning and ends.
Really gives me I don't know how many people
That's
are going
where
to
we
get this
get
reference.
January from also.
It gave me big Jonas from Dark vibes of I couldn't stop thinking of Jonas, but it's Janus. It's a kind of
Gotta
similar.
really
Is
watch
that a
that.
Roman god?
Yes, if not Greek. I believe it's Roman though. I don't remember if there's a Greek equivalent of Janus.
Yeah. In an ancient Roman religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, and endings.
Wow.
Very interesting.
I love mythology.
So back at Buffy's house, she's all dressed up like a Victorian lady. For some reason, she felt the need to make herself a brunette, which, okay.
Because the picture
Because he
was
likes
brunette.
brunettes.
Yeah.
But he likes her and she's blonde. This is so stupid, Buffy. You're being dumb. You're being dumb, and I can't. But that's not as important as what Willow is dressed as, which I couldn't for the life of me. She came out of there, and I was like, "Is she a Spice Girl? Like, what is she?" And I think she's just supposed to be hot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Mean Girls with Karen, where she's just like, "Duh, I'm a mouse." Like that's one
She's
step
just a hot
away
girl.
from that.
Yeah. She just
But
needs
she
ears.
gets it. She's uncomfortable.
This is Buffy's clothes, right? She's just wearing Buffy's clothes.
I assume so.
Yeah. I mean, she looks great, but
Of
she's
course she does,
uncomfortable.
but she's very uncomfortable. So Buffy goes downstairs to greet Xander, who's dressed as like some army dude or whatever the heck. And when Willow comes down the stairs, unfortunately, she has her ghost costume on. And it's even worse because it's not just a ghost costume.
It says
Well,
boo.
it says boo on the front.
Why
so
does
bad.
she do
She
this
paid
to
money for
me?
that.
She did. She paid money for that. Yep.
I don't know
If
why
she had gotten a
did
sheet, she wouldn't have turned into a ghost. She just bought a sheet. Just
Very
saying.
true.
So yeah, so they all go and get their children. It's just like whatever. Yeah, they all
she's
have
not
like
allowed
kids
to
they're in
talk
charge
to
of.
them.
How are you supposed to not talk to them?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty stupid. So at first she has 3 children. One is like a rabbit. The other one's a reindeer. One I think is a witch.
That was a reindeer costume? I couldn't tell what the hell that kid was.
I think it was a reindeer. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the bully starts bullying Xander.
Yeah, he's a pirate and he's
Yeah.
bullying Xander. And Xander pretends to shoot him with his fake toy gun.
Yeah.
Which, not great, Xander. Don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, 1990. When did this air?
97,
like
I think? 98?
Oh, if it was 97, okay, the timing would be real bad. All things
It
considered.
was
Yeah.
99. That would be
Yikes.
yeah.
Yeah.
We see Oz played by Seth Green again. Very exciting stuff. Cordelia comes in and yells
she's
at
pissed
him.
off because his bandmate is her new boyfriend, I guess, and he like doesn't even show up or call her. She's probably wearing a costume you're very happy with, Sarah. She is a cat, but it's pretty much just a spandex looking leopard print situation.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Big Brother unitard.
Yeah, and the ears don't even give me cat vibes, to be honest.
Oh, she's a jaguar. She's a jaguar.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, she is doing the quintessential Mean Girls thing, right? Like she is definitely like, oh yeah, I'm a cat, and it's really just like I'm dressed hot, and I'm like this is what this outfit is about. I will say too, though, I love Oz. Like I'm a big fan of Seth Green. Love Oz so much, and it's I think partially to Seth Green delivery, but his personality is great. Like when she comes up to him, it's just like, hey, if you see Mr. invite me out but then doesn't show up because he thinks he's too good for me, like this whole long thing, and his response is just like, yeah, we call him Devin now. I thought was just very funny because he delivers it so deadpan, and it's just perfection. I love him, and yes, I also am a big Oz Willow shipper. I have a lot of ships in the show, to say the least.
Well, we get another missed connection, right? And I love the show toying with us because he already had complimented her. He loves costumes, I guess, right? He complimented her on her outfit for that really awful, like, cultural appropriation nonsense. But he bumps into her literally right after. Why can't I meet a nice girl like that? Bumps into her. Oops, sorry. Oh, we're on our way. And I'm like, they're gonna date. They're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. Not yet, though. We need to shove the redheads together, Sarah. Like I said, on any TV show, 2 redheads. Nope, smash them together. Kiss now. Kiss.
Well, isn't he blonde in this?
In this, but he's a natural redhead, and I know that.
That's true.
So.
He's also a short king, which got to stand a short king.
Yeah.
Smash the shorties together. Boop. So they're gonna do it, and we all know it. Xander's getting his troops ready again. Whatever, Xander. Who cares?
I thought that he was so funny in this scene. He's like, if you're gonna squeeze candy, tears will get you the double bagger. He was
I did like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. He was like, only do it for coffee. Not for chocolate. Like, don't. Don't waste it on a starburst, you little idiots. Like, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought Xander was really great in this moment. And again, even his like toxicity at the beginning, I think was like, I kind of get it for the time and like high school. This is again one of Xander's better ones, honestly.
Yeah, once we
bar.
get to Xander transforming, I like him a lot more. Because we're gonna see Ethan is like sweating profusely and like doing an incantation, right? He's like getting the ritual all started. We see all these kids trick-or-treating, and suddenly we see a kid who's dressed like a devil actually become a devil, and then the kid next to him is dressed like some kind of monster. I don't really know what it is, and he starts choking a lady out. And Willow is like, what the fuck? Like, she's trying to get him to stop, but she just like collapses and her soul just fucking leaves her body. And I was like, well, okay. And it didn't, I will say it took me a minute, and I'm trying to remember exactly the order of things, because then we see Xander and he goes to like move his toy gun, and when he does, it like suddenly it's a real gun. And I think that's when I realized what was going on, because I was a little confused until that moment. I was like, what exactly is happening? Oh, they're becoming what their costumes are. Okay. And then I was all in. At this point in the episode, I mean, I know we're halfway through, but at this point in the episode, I was like, this is cool. I like this. This is awesome. This is fun.
It's such a great premise.
Yeah, I think it's really cool too. I really, really like the premise, and I like how the people that were just dressed in a particular way had that mindset. I thought it was interesting that, like, I don't know, that Willow got to keep her awareness because her
Well, she just became a
costume.
ghost. Yeah.
She just
But
became
then
a
why can
ghost.
people
Dead
see
version of
her?
herself.
I don't.
Well, people can see ghosts sometimes. That's like the whole thing.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but the mechanics
We
that
saw
Willow got
Casper
to
all
do.
the time.
Casper was
I-
a freak. We all know it. The perviest ghost around.
the mechanics of Willow was really cool. Like Xander was able to go past her. She came in through doors. It was really cool, and it was cool seeing. And I thought the effects were pretty good as well, considering some how it could have been.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really, really great. And I also like that, like, Willow picked it up really quick what was happening because of Xander
She's very
being
smart.
she's so smart. Yeah.
She's a
Like,
hacker.
and then she essentially was like, Xander, like, stand down, no goods. That's an order. And
Yeah,
like, he
she
listened
knows
to
how to
her.
speak to him. This is a great coming out episode for Willow. Like, this is probably Willow's best episode so far, I think, because she takes initiative, she takes charge, because Xander doesn't know who he is, right? There is like a level of amnesia that happens with this. Willow, as like a ghost, remembers who she is. Xander has no idea, so she has to learn how to, like, okay, he's dressed like a soldier, I'll address him like a soldier, and he listens. And of course, unfortunately, this also means that Buffy is like some Victorian style woman. And my favorite moment, I think, of this entire episode is they turn to Buffy because they're like, Buffy, what are we going to do? Like, all these monsters are here. What should we do? And she just faints.
Passes out immediately.
It was so perfect. Oh, dear me. It was everything. It was everything. It was so perfect for what she was supposed to be. It was everything. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a great moment, and I think this is such a fun episode because it also gave, like, Allison Hannigan has played a mostly meek version of Willow that we have seen thus far, and to your point, Jess, she's dead, and because everyone is sort of out of it, she has to take charge, and we get to see her be a different version. So we kind of get to see Allison Hannigan flex a little bit of the acting muscle. Same thing I will say for Nicholas Brendan, going from Xander kind of being this like doofy person to actually being someone who is a bit commanding and tough, which I think was a really great job. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think, did a very good job, except for the accent. Accents are hard, but you know, this is also early days for Sarah, you know, so I won't give her too much of a you know, bad lip here. She gets a lot better as the series goes on, I think, and she does some really great jobs when she has to do some like more like not intense acting, but more like a character work, I guess, or character specific stuff. She's really, really good. This is still those early days, and her accent is not good.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I feel like she felt like a little weak in the performance. Like I think that the actor that played Xander, like, I believed that he thought that he was this soldier, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, I felt like she was just like putting on more of an act. Like, it wasn't as natural.
Yeah.
But I
thought it felt like, because I agree with you, but it also felt like it was supposed to be over the top, so I didn't really mind it. Like, it felt like it was supposed to be a little like cheesy, and like she's like, oh my gosh, oh no, like very damsel in distress. And I really loved that role reversal, that not only do we have Xander being the manliest man that he clearly wants to be 90% of the time, and Buffy being the damsel in distress that we never ever see happen, and her like leaning on Xander, hiding behind him. Like when Angel comes to help her later, she's like, no, but I liked the man with the, what is it? What does she call it? Musket, with the musket. So I loved the role reversals that we got in this episode. And I think for me, like the best role reversal was Willow, like her being able to, when Buffy is incapable of being the leader and being the Slayer, Willow steps in and does like such a great job at like taking that leadership role and running with it. So I loved everything about that.
Is there any way, if we're going mystical, is there any way of like she was literally stepping into Buffy's shoes and like maybe
because of the outfit?
Yeah, is there any way that she like got, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Willow, like I think that she could lead fine, but like I don't know, like even just having the confidence.
I think it's the confidence that was like, it's like confidence that was in her all along, because like the rules as they are is that the costume has to be from the store, right. And those are just Buffy's clothes. Just the Boo costume was what she purchased from that store.
I think it's just like one of those things where when there's a leadership position available and like no one else is there to take it, Willow's like, I have to be the one to do it because I'm the only one who's aware of what's going on at the moment, right? Like she has to lead Xander and Buffy because neither of them even know who they are, who each other are. They don't even realize they're all friends. And Buffy thinks that a car is a demon.
A demon.
It's really funny.
Which was so funny because she's like, hey, oh my gosh, there's a demon. And then obviously Willow turns around thinking it's going to be a vampire. And it's like, no, it's just a car with headlights. That's what it was.
He's never seen a car before. Like, yeah, Xander's entire delivery on this stuff is A+, and his like incredulity and all of it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Perfect.
I mean, the small details were really good. Like even Buffy's wig switched to like a more authentic looking brown hair. It was really, really well done.
I did like Willow also telling Xander who he couldn't shoot. Like, those are children, don't shoot them. And then let loose on these people. But Cordelia really is kind of the key that unlocks this whole mystery, because she comes in and I'm like, all right, missed opportunity that she's not acting like a cat, because that would be hilarious. But she's just being her normal Cordy self. And they realize like, oh, she says, oh, well, they're not going to take this costume back at like, not Party City, whatever their version of Party City is, because that's where she rented it from. And so it's like, oh, interesting. She didn't go to the same shop as everyone else.
Because she's Cordelia. She's going to go to, she's not going to do what everyone else does, right? Like that is a small minor detail that I think is totally in line with the character, which I do really like. As they're all hiding out in Buffy's house. I do also, again, love Charisma Carpenter's like delivery to Willow of like, just like, yes, Willow, that's, you know, who I like. She was just being such a bitch, which is so
like
perfect.
Fun name game. Okay, so you're gonna actually tell me what's going on now.
Oh, and Sarah, I will say again, and Kevin, you're hearing this for the first time, I mentioned on the podcast previously that occasionally there are very brief moments of like some weird sort of chemistry between Cordelia and Xander, and we see it here again because he takes off his jacket and he gives it to her, right? And now obviously he's like, I'm a hunky veteran or whatever the hell, but she gives him these eyes, like she looks at him in his little tank top and she's like, she sees something she likes. I'm just saying, I put my, what did I say? I planted my flag like weeks ago, and I'm just pointing this out. Breadcrumbs, just pointing them out. Something's gonna happen.
I got nothing for you, Jess.
I don't care if they just make out or something. There will be something that happens. I don't care if someone's drunk or a different person or has amnesia. Something's gonna happen.
This is one of those moments, though. It's kind of funny too, because like it's when he does take off his jacket, like Nicholas Brendan is like pretty in shape.
Guy.
So
yeah,
I think that's like one of those fun things, because it's like you dressed a character so they never look like that. And I think that's very funny, right? Like, so he's constantly wearing like the baggier clothes, the double layers. So like here we actually see his arms. It's just like, oh, he actually is kind of fit.
It's like when remember when Ben Savage started working out
yes.
in the 5th or 6th season, we're like
damn,
what the hell? Why does Corey have huge muscles? What's happening?
Well, they dress Xander in like Hawaiian shirts and shit all the time. So of course we didn't know that he had a body yada yada, you know? Like we're not gonna know that.
One of my favorite things, this is a future project, but it's the Cabin in the Woods. Love that movie. But there's a it's like a weed and joint along with oh god, I can't believe I remember misremembering the director, but he did Angel and stuff as well. But the actor Fran Kranz, who plays almost exclusively like this dorky nerdy person, is actually jacked IRL, and especially at that time. And because in the movie his character is supposed to be like a stoner, they went to like a cabin on a beach. He had to wear his shirt the whole time because they were like, we cannot have you take off your shirt because then it's like, why is this stoner so ripped? It was like that scene in A Good Place where Chidi takes off his shirt and you're just like, whoa. Like it's very similar.
Yeah, and it totally works here, right? Like the fact that he is fit works with who he's supposed to be in this episode. So Willow leaves because she's like, I have to go talk to Giles. You all can't leave. You have to stay here. And I love Xander takes her rules like so seriously. Like he's just like, no, the lady said stay put. We can't leave. And
orders,
they find a picture of the three of them together and they realize like, oh, she must be right. We do know each other. We have some sort of amnesia. And of course, this is the time when Angel comes in, and Xander and Buffy don't know Angel at this point. So they're like, who the hell even are you?
It's so funny. Perfect. Is this your house?
Yeah, it's everything.
No, it's not.
I also really enjoyed Willow just walking through a wall and scaring the bejesus out of Giles.
Anthony Stewart Head is so goddamn good. Like how he's throwing the cards up and then like gathering himself. He's so good. I love his performance of Giles. I love Giles in almost every moment he does. He also gets a really cool moment later we're getting to. But like I love that. I love the physical comedy and the physical mannerisms that Anthony Stewart Head brings to this character.
Yeah. It's so great. But meanwhile at the house we have them splitting up into couples. Angel takes Buffy. She said she wants to go with the man with the musket, and she's very upset about it. Xander calls Cordelia Catwoman and says he's with her or she's with him. And Angel realizes the door is open, and he definitely didn't leave it open. They get attacked, and Buffy is like, not being Buffy. She's terrified. She's screaming. She's a damsel in distress. She doesn't know why. Angel wants her to get a steak. Angel gets vampire face and she's like very freaked out by that. It's very like anti-Buffy in a way that is really satisfying, Sarah, for like a one-off episode.
The only thing that I wanted Buffy to do was go to the deep freeze in the garage and get an actual steak. I feel like that would have been just perfect.
Would she even know what a freezer is the problem.
Probably not, but I really wish that that's what happened because that would have sent me over the edge. But she grabs a knife, but after she sees the vampire face, like she straight up like runs away, which is like the worst thing that she could possibly have done because I guess like since they're not vampires, they're allowed to go inside. Because aren't you not supposed to? Or is it because they left the door open? That's like,
well, Angel said he didn't though.
So how does that work? Because
vampires was that a vampire that was?
I think it was just a monster.
It was just a monster. Okay, so
I think it was just a monster. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, or maybe it was. I mean, I don't know if it was a person turned vampire because they were dressed like a vampire. I don't know how the rules work for something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't have the law book on.
Yeah. It was hard to see what they actually were, but so she just runs away, which is like I said, the worst thing that she possibly done.
Really bad.
Because there was definitely a layer of protection in her house that she had, and of course, sticking with your people.
Don't split the party.
Don't split the party. Don't do it. Even though it seems like a good idea, just don't. And then Willow and Giles figures out that this is all because they bought their costumes from Ethan's and not from Party Town. And I feel like Kevin, like Giles, like recognized the name Ethan right away, right? It seemed
100%.
Yeah. Because something definitely clicked. He was like, I know who's behind this.
Yeah, I think it's like when he hears the place, when he hears the name, he's suspicious, and then obviously when Ethan shows up, he's just like, a little bit later, just like, you need to leave. Like, Willow, you gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah, and meanwhile, like Spike is like having his best time. He's like ordering child demons around to do his bidding. He's having a fabulous time. Buffy's like trying to hide in an alleyway. She's getting chased. It's not looking great.
By the pirate that is the bully.
Yes.
Yeah, bully pirate is chasing her. It's not looking good for her. And then we go to Ethan's costume shop, and oh my god. I tell you, this is incredible. So, they walk in and they're like trying to figure out what's going on. And there's Ethan, and he's so devious, right? They're talking about like, oh, male, female, light, dark, and he goes chunky and creamy. And I love a villain like this, like who like you said, Kevin, like choose the scenery. I love a villain like this. And this is interesting. So Giles says, hello, Ethan, because he knows him. And Ethan says, hello, Ripper.
Yeah, he does.
Ripper?
Yeah, he does.
So, okay, we got to theorize on this, right, Sarah? Because obviously there's a past between Ethan and Giles, aka Ripper, which to me, Sarah, sounds kind of like a Spike, Giles is a British guy who drinks tea and reads books. Ripper is a badass bitch. He fights people, he kicks people, he punches people. So, like, Sarah, this is giving big vibes of, if anybody listens to our Dawson's Creek coverage, of like a dark myth past.
Yes.
Like, Giles has a dark myth past.
Yeah, I was really excited to hear that. I mean, like, I should have known.
You hated Giles. You're like, you called him an old fogey. Like,
I mean, like,
we're not
I still kind of dislike him. But I mean, just
Wrong
because
take, Sarah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, the thing is that I have no problem saying that I'm wrong. Like, I have no issue around that. But I should have known that there was just more to him, besides like old, crusty, dusty books. And I'm really, really, really intrigued. Like, I don't know. I mean, Ripper, the first thing I think of is Jack the Ripper, which was a British serial killer. And if it's like his thing that he's killed before or something, like,
well, we should have known that, like, because we knew that being a watcher like gets passed down, right? Like, so we knew he came from a generation of watchers. It's not like he was just randomly selected. Oh, you like books? Be the watcher. This is like a family thing. So we should have known there was like some kind of badassery in his past. But I think you're right. Like, the name Ripper feels very specific to Jack the Ripper. And it's almost like the actor is like
Feel the Reaper, like the Grim Reaper. Like, it has something to do with death. Like, he's murdered people.
Well, did you see his face change? It was like so instantaneous, right? And not only obviously he's telling Willow to leave for like her own protection, right? Like, Giles is a nice guy, but like there was a part of me that I was also like, he doesn't want Willow to find out that he knows this man. Like, because he waits until she leaves and then he's like, hello, Ethan. You know what I mean? Like, it was it felt like it was on purpose that he did that.
So I guess my main question is, Jess, like, do you think that he's like a reformed baddie, or do you think that he's good? Like, do you think that Ethan used to be his partner in some sort?
The problem is that we have a similar sort of thing with Angel, where he used to be a baddie and now he's reformed. So it's kind of like, are they going to go to that same well again? Probably not. It felt like so Ethan calls him mate, which like could mean boyfriend, but most likely just means like old friend. It kind of gives me vibe. It kind of gives
so stupid. It's okay.
I read into everything, but it gives me vibes of, Kevin will understand this reference. It gives me like X-Men vibes of like Magneto and Professor Xavier.
Yeah, why do you think that I don't know X-Men? That's the only one that I like.
Okay, well then good. You get the reference too.
Thank you.
Where it's like they were friends, very good friends when they were younger. Oh, they definitely did it. And these two may have done it too. We don't
exactly. I see what you're saying. Yeah, 100%.
But like, they were really good friends when they were like kids or something. And then they kind of like took two different paths because, you know, like circumstances, and like it's kind of like a for the greater good versus, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
So that's
Dumbledore and that other dude.
exactly. Those are the vibes that I'm getting from this. But again, it also feels kind of similar to Angel, so I don't know if that's exactly what it will be, but it certainly feels like they have a past, and it is like a dark past, and it is something that Giles, in my opinion, has shame about because he is
Yeah.
keeping it a secret.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I can definitely see, like, Giles was always like trying to do something good, but in order for the whatever good to happen, he had to do things that might have been out of his character. And then when he realized the path that he was going down, like, he didn't want to be involved in it anymore and got
Yeah.
out of it. So I like something like that. Like, I can definitely see that. Like, I don't think that like Giles was ever intentionally evil, but like maybe he did things that he's still not proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What
Interesting.
if Giles had a kid at some point
Okay,
and they died?
Okay, how?
Like, it just feels like he's such a father figure to Buffy. Like, I wonder if he had some sort of kid and like something happened,
What
and that's how
happened to the kid?
they died
How
because of something he did. Like, whether
he
or not
did?
it was his fault
Mhm.
intentionally, I think
Yeah,
like could have been like the absence of him being there or
yeah.
something like that led to his
So like
child's death.
every D&D backstory that ever lived, you're
Sure.
saying?
I mean, yes, sure, but like there's a reason that it's like a common thing, right? Like
Yeah.
it would make sense that, or maybe it's not even like a daughter he had, right? But like
How
somebody
bad would
died.
that be? It's like, hey Ripper, you're kid killer. Like, you killed your own kid. That's sick.
I'm not saying he killed the, like, more like it was his fault because he wasn't there for them, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like something he did led to their death inadvertently, indirectly, I should say. So yeah, we'll get back to that in a minute, but before that, we have to get back to Pirate Man, who's trying to hurt Buffy. And another one of my favorite lines this episode is when Xander finally punches him. He says like, "Oh, that felt good for some reason." Like,
Yeah, he
it's just
said,
like,
for some reason, punching out that pirate gave me a sense of closure.
yeah,
And I
it's
thought
so
that was
good.
perfection. I love that moment.
Great line delivery as well. I think that this character, like, I'm glad that this actor can actually act and he's not just like all douche. That makes me feel like we're going to see more from Xander going forward.
I hope so.
Like a
Yeah.
more serious side, which
Yeah.
I'm happy to think that that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm. So they're off because Spike is after them. So they're like, okay, everybody run. So we have the Scoobies are back together, and they're running away. And we get this, like, again, very tense conversation between Ethan and Giles. And Giles says, like, oh, I'm just surprised I didn't already know it was you because this whole thing stinks of you. And Ethan he's sort of showboaty Kevin in a way that I love a villain to be. Very like mustache twirly, sort of like, yeah, I am genius.
Yeah, he definitely has like a very, again, like scenery chewy, like fabulousness about him that's really spectacular. And what I really love though is, like, I obviously no comments on any of the theories, but another aspect I think is him telling Willow to leave is also because he then proceeds to beat the shit out of Ethan, which is not something we have seen Giles do.
No,
We've
and
made
it's
fun of him, Sarah.
Yeah,
for like
it's
not
so
being good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like we've seen Giles like stumble after Buffy like kicks the punching bag or like punches the punching bag. So then that makes me feel like, okay, is it that, I mean, we know that Buffy has super strength. Like, is it that like he's putting on a little bit of an act that he is weak? Or is it that
I wonder if it's like, you know how they say like mom strength is a thing? I wonder if it's like
yeah,
rage strength. Like
I
Ethan
don't
just
know.
makes him so angry that
Maybe.
He has a
suddenly he's
quiet
like,
rage in him.
yeah, I could
Yeah,
see that.
I can also see him like totally putting on an act. Like, if everybody thinks that he's just like this like bookish guy that's just like a little weakling, then they underestimate him and then they like aren't going to like he's going to have like the upper hand when he's actually in a fight. And then that makes me feel like, remember, I don't remember what it was when it was, but like there was a part where like he was going to go out for Buffy at one point in time and be like, I'll take care of this.
That was with Spike.
No, I don't think it was with Spike. I think it was with like
Daddy Vamps in the finale.
Yeah. And I was like, that's so stupid. Like, you know that you can't do shit. And it's like, actually, you know what? Like, maybe he can. Like, maybe he can actually fight, and it's essentially an act, and we didn't get to see that because Buffy like stood up and was like, no, I'm going to do this. But like I personally was making fun of him and was like, you can't do shit, you're not the Slayer, blah blah blah. Like I would say like I am pretty confident that this whole like little weakling thing is an act. And like it makes sense because like I was saying the whole time, I was like, this makes no sense that like Buffy would be out on her own. Like, why would her number one ally, the Watcher, just be some like weird bookish nerd? Like it, because I was like, there's no support in this. Like they have to have actual training. Like he is probably an excellent fighter and we don't even know because he has to keep it on the down low.
Yeah, it's part of his like past that he doesn't really want to talk about.
But then once again, like if there are have been like dozens of Slayers and dozens of Watchers, or hundreds depending on how long this is going on, like how do the vampires not know that the Watchers are like a significant threat?
Yeah. We don't have enough of the lore to know.
No,
but I do think
there's something.
What we find out is so interesting because Giles is like basically condemning Ethan for like what he's up to. And Ethan says, oh, when we all know that you are the champion of innocence and all things pure and good, Rupert, it's quite a little act you've got going on here, old man. So like, again, insinuating that, oh, you're just like me. You're just as bad as me. You're just pretending you're not. And Giles says, no, it's who I am. And Ethan says, who are you? The Watcher, sniveling, tweed-clad guardian of the Slayer and her kin? I think not. I know who you are, Rupert, and I know what you're capable of. But they don't, do they? They have no idea where you come from, which is such an interesting thing to say. He didn't say they have no idea who you are, or like they have no idea who you really are. He says they have no idea where you come from. Sarah, is there like a chance, because we've talked a lot about like people, all these side characters getting like magical powers at some point, right? Like Willow is secretly a witch. I'm still all in on that, or will become a witch. Does Giles have some sort of powers that are just being kept under wraps in terms of the where you come from? Like, is he an alien? Like, is he not a vampire, but you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, maybe he is a vampire.
Introducing aliens in this show.
It could happen. They'll never introduce werewolves, but they might introduce aliens.
Where you come from? I don't know. My brain is. I have too much of a pea brain. I don't know.
I'm just like I can't help but like focus in on the language they're using because it's very specific. Because it's instead of saying who you are, he says where you're from.
Did he work alongside werewolves, alongside vampires at one point? Like maybe he's not a vampire, maybe he is, but maybe he's not a vampire, and he like worked for them at one point, and that's like how he knows so much about them.
Yeah. It's interesting though. Like, and then we get to see a whole other side of Giles because he basically warns Ethan. He's like, you should leave. And if you do, you'll get to live. And Ethan's like, oh, you're so scary. And as he says that, Giles punches him. And like, Kevin, we've seen him spar with Buffy, like we've seen him do that, but I've never seen this level of like, he knew exactly what he was doing. Like he knew exactly where to punch and how to hurt Ethan.
I mean, yeah, and I will say, like, look, I'm trying to avoid any commentary on stuff too. So even irregardless, I think of what you all are theorizing or saying, just training with Buffy is going to teach you a thing or two as well, right? Like, I think there is a level of you have to know stuff, but like he can also learn stuff because like Buffy knows all these things and he's learning how to take hits and stuff like that. She does have super strength, but like you can throw a good punch once you know how to, and like, not to say that he didn't, because again, I'm trying to keep things as even keeled as possible here. But yeah, I think there's a lot of levels to what's going on here. And I love, I'm thinking back to like when I first watched this, I remember loving the intrigue about Giles for this reason. So like it was really cool, and getting a chance to be like a character that I thought was just their librarian, just the watcher, right? The fuddy duddy, having something more to him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And simultaneously, right? So the Scoobies are like going into a warehouse to try to hide from Spike and his cronies. At the same time, Giles is kicking the downed Ethan. Ethan is saying, "Oh, you said the Ripper was long gone." And yeah, it's not looking great for Ethan. The interesting thing is that Ethan, like, as he's on the ground bleeding and everything, Giles is asking, like, how do I stop this spell? How do I end it? And he says, "Oh, I thought you said the Ripper was long gone." And Sarah, I don't know if you'll get this reference because I can't remember if you've seen Breaking Bad, but he's giving me big like Gus Fring energy when Giles is, because Kevin, when he's asking, right, and Ethan is like bleeding and he's like, "Say pretty please," Giles is like very casually like wiping his hands, and then instead of saying pretty please, he just hauls off and kicks the guy in the ribs. Like, doesn't he give you kind of like Gus Fring energy in this scene?
Yeah, because it's like that thing, right? Like, I think that's such a great comparison, because like Gus is exactly like that. Like, he's just a silent person as he's doing like these violent things, which is very scary in its own way. And I think he's definitely giving a bit of that right here, as like, yeah, he's just cleaning his hands because he punched him and he probably has blood on him.
Yeah, he's very like well-mannered. You wouldn't expect him to have that in him. And simultaneously Spike is like approaching Buffy, who's just sobbing because she's a damsel in distress.
Yes.
And all the others are being held. Angel is like yelling, he can't really get out. And I love Willow. So Xander is able to escape. Again, Xander getting like this very heroic moment of being able to escape. And Willow says, like, "That's the guy you can shoot. Use the gun." Of course, as he picks up the gun to shoot, Ethan tells Giles that Janus or whatever, he has to break the statue in order to break the spell. And just as Xander goes to shoot Spike, is when Giles destroys the statue. And I love the moment of Xander's gun turns back into a toy gun, and Spike is suddenly, instead of holding real hair, just holding Buffy's brown wig.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm back, sweetie," or whatever she said.
"Hi, honey, I'm home."
"Hi, honey, I'm home." And then she does her little kiki punchy, and Spike always is running away from these fights. Spike does
we can't kill him so quickly,
Well,
yeah, he also, I think, knows when to fight, when to run, right? Like, this is a guy who has killed 2 Slayers. That is not by being an idiot. Like, he has killed 2 Slayers in his lifetime, which is quite an accomplishment, to say the least.
He has a good resume. Yeah.
Does he get a little plaque every one that he kills?
Gets a little gold star. Drusilla gives him a gold star every time.
Yeah.
Good job, puppet.
But we also find out Poodle. Yes, Daddy, here's your gold star. We also find out that while Buffy and Xander and everyone else, while they were like changed, it was like they were trapped in their own bodies, like watching themselves do what they were doing, which sounds so traumatizing for all of the children.
Oh, the kids are fucked, but they're already going to be fucked because, as we've said a billion times, teenagers are disposable. These kids are just being like basically aged to die off once they get to high school. So it's already going to be traumatic for them. Poor things.
Yeah. So they're going to bring the kids back. Ethan is gone. Giles looks on the ground and suddenly he's gone. So we know he's still out there somewhere. Willow gets like such a wonderful transformative moment, right? Like, she wakes up on the ground, like still dressed as the ghost, and she takes off the ghost costume, throws it in the trash, and fucking just struts her ass down the street. I love this.
It was great.
So filled with confidence. And we see Oz in like kind of like the mystery van of sorts. I don't know what this is, like a zebra version. Mystery machine. And as she's crossing the street in front of him, and he goes, "Who is that girl?" And we're like, "Yes, she's about to get a love interest."
I wonder if she is going to stop dressing like Oshkosh Bagosh from now on. That would be so good.
I think that we'll probably meet in the middle if I had to guess. Like, I feel like she's not going to be wearing like the overalls and the frog backpack, but I don't think she's going to be dressing like Buffy and Cordelia either. I think we'll meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be great if we could.
Yeah. And then we get like a little sexy scene between like Angel and Buffy, where he's saying like, "Why did you dress like that? Like, I didn't like them. They were all like simpering morons. I always wanted to meet someone more exciting." And I don't know, Sarah, I have to just say the kiss chemistry felt a little off for me.
That's because you're just being a hater. I thought it was good.
I liked their last kiss. I thought their first kiss was really good, like when he gets vampire face.
Yeah.
But sometimes television kisses don't necessarily work for me because it looks like they're trying to eat each other's faces. And that was the vibe I was getting.
I mean, they are trying to eat each other's faces, essentially. I thought it was
Kevin,
good.
where do you land on the chemistry here?
I think they have chemistry.
I think they do. I remember us having a similar convo when they first made out in Angel, right? In the episode that we were talking about previously. And I think it's like what you were saying. They're not there fully yet, but they're like there. It's weird because I do think they're trying to convey, and I feel especially at this particular point, this almost restrained passion, which is really hard to pull off.
I still think it's a Sarah Michelle Gellar problem, which is what I said last
David
time.
Boreanaz has made out with a lot of people.
Yeah. I think it's her problem. I think that I think maybe it's what you're saying, Kevin, and she is trying to portray some sort of like uncomfortable resistance, but she doesn't look like she's going all in.
That was my problem. It was like too restrained to like to fully work.
Mm-hmm.
But they're making out, so that's great for them. And Giles goes back to Ethan's shop, and it's all cleared out, and there's a little note left, and it says, "Be seeing you, ... I love an ellipses. So dramatic.
It is very dramatic, and I think that this is a really good beginning to learning more about Giles' dark myth past. I'm really intrigued and excited.
I wasn't expecting for him to be the like I thought coming into this Halloween episode and knowing like seeing Angel very early on, I thought this was going to be an Angel backstory episode. So I was so delighted when it was a Giles one because I just never was expecting it.
Yeah, it's really fun for that reason, right? Like, and like at the time, again, there was just so much entertainment in the concept, and like you get to see the actors portray stuff differently. You get a touch of the Buffy Angel stuff here and some progression there, which I think is cool. But it really was the unexpected twist of like, oh, there's more to Giles as well, which I think is very, very, very intriguing and very entertaining. I'm trying to like again not just say too much because I'm just like, and here's what it all means. Which is also, to your point, we get some Spike this episode, which is always great. Because I love Spike.
Sarah, do you think that we will see Ethan again like in this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think that if you go past the end of the season, I think that the typical audience member would probably forget who he is. So I think that we're probably going to see him by the end of the season. I think we're definitely going to learn about Giles, at least in some capacity, in the coming episodes. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We did get some feedback from Joy. She said Principal Snyder voluntelling the Scoobies to take kids out trick-or-treating is hilarious and very on brand for him.
It's true. The guy's a dick.
And she did point out, we didn't talk about this much, but she said, actually really like Cordelia and Angel, not in a shippy way, but as friends. Angel is a broody, kind of stoic guy, but Cordelia got him to laugh, which is kind of adorable. I don't disagree with that.
Have we seen, I think I was struck by the fact that Angel was smiling when he was talking to Cordelia, because I don't think that I've seen him smile that often or before. And obviously like Buffy and Angel are like always very serious. So, I mean, to see Angel have fun is great. And of course, like Cordelia is just like funny in general. Like I think that she's probably somebody that Angel's like not really ever met before because she's so of this era essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So like she's probably an interesting case study for him to know what like teens of today are like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like it's a very funny pairing.
Yeah. She says, Spike watching game tape of Buffy to find her weaknesses is a brilliant move and not one that every vampire would think of. And I love how Buffy distracted Giles while Willow got the diaries. Hunk of burning something indeed. Be careful what costume you pick for Halloween because you just might turn into it. Oh man, the
Exactly.
introduction. Yeah, it's yes, Kevin knows. Kevin
Yes,
is prepared
Superman.
in any way.
Yeah, you know.
Mhm.
The introduction to Ethan Rayne is amazing. He worships chaos and comes to turn everything upside down. Buffy as a damsel in distress is new. She can't take care of herself at all, but Commando Xander is one of my favorite Xanders. Very much agree, Joy. I actually enjoyed
100%.
Xander for most of this episode. Giles getting the crap scared out of him by Ghost Willow is hilarious, especially with the catalog index cards flying everywhere. It's also one of my favorite Cordelia episodes because she's got great lines, great comedic timing, and I love how she doesn't believe Angel's a vampire and is annoyed with helpless Buffy, but doesn't hesitate to help her. It's true. Cordelia was kind of clutch in these moments because she's one of the only ones who knows who she actually is.
Yep. It's
great.
really great, and like I don't want to say again too much stuff, but like I feel like season 1 Cordelia was very much just like she's here to like antagonize on the like petty girl high school level.
Yeah.
But season 2 Cordelia I feel like is becoming a little more like not like integrated into the gang at all, but like more interactive in ways that I think are really interesting and help build the dynamic in a really fun way and gives Charisma Carpenter some A+ material.
She's a lot less one note. She has
Yeah.
more dimensionality this season, which I appreciate. And well, at the same time, Sarah, I appreciate that she's not phased by any of this really. Like she's still so self-interested that like this doesn't give her existential dread like it would for most people, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she has a lot to worry about, like when Dylan's going to call her back and what she's going to wear to prom. There's like big issues out there.
Yeah, Party City isn't going to take her costume back.
Yeah,
it's not great.
We don't have time to worry about all the small things like the world's ending when we have big problems to deal with.
And she says, with Ethan comes a little glimpse into Giles's past, or should I say Ripper's past, which is much more wild than I think y'all anticipated. And then she asks us, does this episode make Angel a bit more bearable? He wasn't nearly as cryptic, so maybe he's growing on you? And I would say, yeah, like this is probably one of Angel's best showings besides the Angel episode. Was it just entitled Angel, I think?
Yeah.
This is probably his best showing since then. But he better be consistent. If he's inconsistent with it, I'm again on his case again, you know?
Define inconsistent. I'm trying to not say it.
Like if he goes back to being this like I'm only gonna speak in riddles sort of guy, I'm gonna get annoyed with it again. And Sarah, honestly, like I felt like probably one of his best moments was the scene with Cordelia, not even a scene with Buffy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to see him smile a little more. And I'm not trying to say it in a condescending way of like, oh, you're so pretty, you should smile more. I just mean I want to see him like enjoy things more. Like the broody kind of guy doesn't always work for me. It's cute for like a second and then it gets old.
I mean, in what reality do you think a person that's lived 200 plus years, seen all of their friends die, lost their soul, only to regain it and then be forced to drink blood? Like, what do you want him to smile at? Like the Sunday, like cartoons, Peanuts?
I mean, he laughed at Cordelia. I feel like Cordelia would find a way to get through it. He's just very broody. And I don't know that him and Buffy make a good, like Bengal is not really my favorite thing because I feel like they're both too serious.
Yeah.
I think he needs someone to lighten it up. This feels very Pacey Joey, you know what I mean? Like he needs someone to bring out the fun in him.
What I like about the Spike introduction too, and you get a little bit more of it, especially here, is that this is like a very particular vampire reference, but it's a very Anne Rice Interview to Vampire relationship. It is very much a Louis and Lestat situation where Angel is the broody Louis and Spike is Lestat, where he is just having a goddamn blast, with the vampirism, and Angel's very much just like, I'm a monster, Like,
yeah. He's like struggling with it.
Yeah. And people like both, some people are really into the Louis of the world. I'm a Lestat boy, but some people are more into the broody types. I do like Angel. Let me be clear. I do like Angel quite a bit, but
I feel like I understand Angel. Angel wants to listen to classical piano music and stare out the window when it's raining. He wants to think about his life and like go back to yesteryear. Like
Sarah, this is so typical of both of us. Like, you're like, give me all the water sign characters. I get them. And I'm just like, no, let chaos reign, bitch. Like, give me the fire.
It's heavy. Like, it's heavy. Like, he has to think about like everyone that he's killed and deal with it. And he's the only one that feels that way.
Every day, like, he can't have any fun ever.
He's punishing himself for the horrible things that he's done.
Well,
and he's the only one that feels that way because he's the only one that has a soul. Spike doesn't give a shit because he doesn't have a soul anymore.
Which I love about Spike.
He's having a grand old time because he's like evil incarnate.
As one person once said, souls are boring, boo souls.
You know what I mean? What is that again?
You're not going to get the reference. It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, thank you so much for your email, Joy. If you want to send in feedback, shit90spod@gmail.com, shit90spod.com. You can send us in a voicemail. We love hearing all of your thoughts, especially about this sort of stuff. If you can give us your spoiler-free thoughts, we absolutely adore it. Sarah, do you want to know what next episode's title is called?
Yes.
Lie to Me.
Yes.
I feel like there should be a comma daddy.
Stop it. Okay, we're cutting you off. Kevin, what are you up to recently?
What am I doing recently besides lying to you, Daddy? Let me think. There's a couple of things I have going on that you can check out. You can find me on 2 episodes of the Letter Movie podcast I was on recently, so you can check that out. I covered the first X-Men movie from 2001. Rich and I are on there with the usual hosts of Brendan and Zach, and then I came back the following week to do Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I am talking to Rich every week over on Screen and Page. We're covering X-Men 97. Has been really amazing, really excellent. That's coming to a wrap this week as the final episode, so that's really, really exciting, and like at the same time like nerve-wracking, because I'm like, I just want more, just sticking in my veins. And then obviously on Whirlwind Podcast, Adam and Melissa and I are covering new Doctor Who. It started off this week, brand new episodes for the first time in quite a long time. So we are going on that journey week by week, and that's been really cool to actually be in a situation where I don't know what's about to happen on Doctor Who, because I just haven't had a new stuff in quite a minute. So yeah, you can find me on all those places. And hopefully here in the future again, because boy, oh boy, do I want to come back and comment on all your theories.
It'll be like, you were so totally wrong about all of these things.
Yeah. I just love it because there's some things you're saying, and I can be vague because you said a lot of different theories and stuff, where I'm just like the monkey's paw just curled. Like, like that's like you say something and I'm just like, ooh, okay, your wish will come true. Good luck.
So great. Sarah, what's going on over on Whirlwind?
Very, very buzzing. We have you and I are covering Pretty Little Liars Original Sin Summer School. That is going to come out weekly. So check that out. We also have previously on Shameless. Previous Little Liars is coming back. Of course, Inside the TARDIS, Whirlwind Investigations, Tuning In with Todd and Tommy. Lots of stuff going on over there. Pushing Daisies. It's great stuff. And then you and I, if you cannot get enough Buffy, for our second bonus podcast of the month, we are covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. We are finally going to get that backstory.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. And then Jess, why don't you talk about our little picnic that we had with Chappelle the other day?
Oh my gosh. If you want to listen to the most unhinged podcast we've probably ever recorded on this network, go listen to the American Pie podcast that we did with Chappelle. It's about 50% of us talking about the movie and 50% of us talking about nonsense of our like sexual history, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. Really funny stories, a wild time for everyone involved. So go listen to that podcast. It was a ton of fun. And you can also hear me on Talking Shit, talking about Schitt's Creek every week with my friend Stuart. We're having a ton of fun over there as well. And if you want to follow me, I'm at the Jess Sterling. I don't tweet a lot, but that's where you can find me. Yeah, next week we'll be back covering another episode of Buffy. So until then, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.